I'm going to talk about how disruption has affected me personally today rather than professionally. I was reading through our assigned books, and it really occurred to me that social media has affected me more personally than professionally up until this point. Um, and I was thinking back on how it really would have helped me out before it came into being. Specifically, I want to talk about when I had kids. This was before really the advent of usable internet. There was nothing there. So, what I was relegated to doing was referring to books and talking to friends. I'm starting off by showing you a screenshot of a doctor that had some published works on how to raise your kids. And really, that was my go to on development and what to look for milestones in my kids. Maybe you might be more familiar with Dr. Spock or some other author out there, but this was my go to guy. So that was my source, aside from the periodic pediatrician visits. But this was my source for medical and milestone to look at for my kids. What I also was doing at the time was living on the telephone with specifically one of my friends. Um, we were pregnant together, we raised our babies together, we lived in different states. I rarely saw her, but we did everything together, and we would pretty much spend about 3 hours a day on the phone with each other. I did meet other moms, I was in other groups, but she was basically my source. We would say, "What's your baby doing? This is what my baby's doing." And that was my world. And that was my world for many years. I had 3 kids, she had 4 kids. We were home a lot, hours on end, and really just had the television and each other to talk to. So it was a very small world. And I'm looking around to see what is available today for young mothers. And I really think this is a great time to be a mom because although you're generally still inside the house with an infant, going into toddlers, and unless you have the ability to put them in daycare, you're stuck at home with these kids. Um, but you have a greater world out there because of the disruption that's happening through social media. And it's not just Facebook and Twitter anymore. You have websites and message boards. One that I know about is Urban Baby, and where it's a message board, and people post different questions and get answers from other mothers. Um, I think that in and of itself is simply amazing. To be able to talk to other people when you're so isolated, and if you have one baby, you have this baby who can't talk to you, and you're only watching TV, and that's just a one-way interaction, whereas here you're able to talk to endless people. Another website is dedicated to moms, called Cafe Mom. All these pretty much came around after my kids were older, so I really wasn't able to take advantage of it. But I hear about it, I look at them, I'm in awe, and I think it's probably saving the sanity of countless mothers out there. Also, the internet, just so you know, I was only able to buy things through catalogs or if I actually went somewhere to go shopping. Um, this is a reason not to leave the house, which is as much as you want to get out and talk to people, it is so much easier to stay home. So, buying things online, that's amazing to me. And again, here's this doctor that I referred to in his book, but I could go to any number of websites to look at different theories and different ways to raise your kids. I really only had this one person's book, or I would talk to people who were going by some other doctor's version of how to raise an infant and how to overcome sleeping problems. I am really amazed at the positive end of disruption. Someone else mentioned in their videos that disruption automatically brings to mind that it's a negative connotation, whereas in fact, it doesn't have to be. This is exciting. This is a good thing. This is a way to maybe have smarter kids because you have so many more resources on how to raise them. You're not sort of just left to it. It was always amazing to me that a hospital let a mother leave with a baby, not knowing the hospital didn't even know if the mother was capable of taking care of a baby. But there are so many more support systems out there for you to take hold of. So that was what I want to discuss in disruption. One other side note as far as disruption, the Content Nation. I think it's pretty funny that the author, John Blossom, has decided to create this buzzword. That's his word for social media. That's his phrase, Content Nation. But the phrase social media has really taken over. So although he's trying to push the words content nation for social media, I think we're going to stick with social media. So I'm reading the book. It's very interesting, but let's call it what it is. It's social media.